Hey guys, it's me again. So I'm still waiting on the display tank. Again, I'm going to do a video later and kind of explain the whole situation. So I got the stand set up. I showed you guys last time my sump lights. So I thought I would do a video about the actual sump. Because really whenever I was looking to purchase the Reefer 750, I was looking around and there's just not a whole lot of videos that go into huge detail about them. And I know when I was buying, I think it was my Reefer 170, there's not really anything about the sumps, which I guess I can understand because probably when everybody buys these tanks, they're freaking out and they're going crazy and they just put them together real quick and get them set up. Which is really kind of what I want to do, but since I don't have the display, it gives me, good time to actually do videos about stuff like that. So, that being said, let's get a little closer and I will show you guys some specific pieces. So basically starting in this corner, and I'll move over here later so you can get a better view. So your return from your overflow is going to come in this section, this corner over here. And then what it's going to do is it's going to fill up, there's a glass section right before these filter socks. It's going to overflow on top of the filter socks. And that's kind of how your mechanical filtration comes in, is it overflows into these socks. These filter socks, take out any particles that they might. So just kind of talk about these filter socks real quick. So basically what you get with the aquarium is 4 of these mesh filter socks from Red Sea. I personally don't use these. What I actually use is I bought 8 felt filter socks. I just prefer the felt filter socks. I feel like they take out a lot more out of the water column or out of the water, and they're also much easier to clean in my opinion. So I have a Kenmore Elite washer. It has I think they call it the pedestal washer. It's basically the washer underneath the actual washer itself. So before on the 170 it comes with these also. I think every Red Sea tank comes with the mesh ones. But anyways, I washed these in there and I don't know what the deal was, but this mesh just kind of fell apart. So what I did is I ordered the felt ones and I never had a problem with them. And I've been washing the felt ones for about 8 months now. Basically what will happen is this ring right here will start chipping. And I think that's just from it clanking around in the washer. So they probably need to be replaced, but 8 months out of filter socks is amazing in my opinion. I'll probably do a YouTube video later on how I wash my socks. It's very simple though. Basically I just put them in there, put a little bit of bleach in them, or on top of them, and then I wash them. And then once it goes through one cycle, I just wash it again to kind of help get any bleach out. So my filter sock schedule is I change them on Saturdays. So that means every Saturday I'm taking them out of the tank, I'm putting them in the washer, getting the other ones and putting them in the tank. So what that does is it gives a week to dry out. So I've never had any problems using bleach on them at all. So yeah. And I've also used vinegar. Vinegar works too well too. It's just kind of sounds stupid, but I don't like the smell of vinegar. And also we use bleach for other things, so it's a lot easier just to buy lots of bleach. Because I only use vinegar basically for my fish stuff. So anyways, so there's 2 of those. There is a glass divider between the 2 filter socks. And the reason is because you have this whole chamber that is divided by this Refugium baffle. And this is removable. It is glass and it is tinted. So I'll be careful, but there is a bottom rubber gasket on it and it can go right here as well. It's very finicky because this filter sock tray interferes with this little tread channel. I don't know if that's unique to my tank, but anyways, I'm not going to keep messing with it because I might break it. But obviously you can take it out too if you just want one giant section. I'm probably going to run a Refugium. I'm not going to do it at the beginning, just because I ran a Refugium from the get-go on the 170 and I didn't have success with it, which I think is really my fault. Just because, there wasn't a lot of nutrients in a brand new tank, so the Kato just kind of, it never could get enough nutrients to really survive. I probably replaced it twice, and every single time it kind of ran into or turned into mush. But I think that was my fault. Like I said, I don't think the tank was mature enough. And I also read that you can actually, I think, dose iron, I think is what it is, and it helps. But I never did that. I just kind of took it out of the 170. And the other thing is Refugium works really well. And sometimes I think it might work too well. Ignore the dogs in the background, they're going out the doggy door. But anyways, on my 350 when I had it, I had a Refugium in there, and it was like super awesome. But the problem is I never had any detectable nutrients. I'm sure I did have nutrients, it's just they were getting sucked up as soon as I went in. And my tank was going bad, and at the time I thought it was because of that, but I don't think so. I think it's also because I was trying to do like the whole no water change thing. And I really think what it was is while doing no water change, I also wasn't replacing any trace elements. So I recently found out, because I'm still trying to do that, I'm not afraid to do water change. I'll do it when I know I need it now. But I try to limit it as much as possible. I think BRS had a thing a while back, don't change good water, you know. So with doing that, I found out recently that some of my Monties were fading, and I couldn't figure out why. And then I read on, I think it was Reef to Reef, some random forum was like, have you tried dosing aminos? To somebody else that was having the same problem. And I'm like, you know what, that kind of makes sense, because aminos, you know, they are definitely needed. So anyways, I went to the local fish store. I just bought like the Aqua Vitro aminos. I think it's called Fuel. And I put that in the tank, and it was kind of funny. It was like almost immediately the acro or the Monties started coloring up. I think it's super awesome. But anyways, so I have grown a little bit, I hope. So I don't think it was the Refugium that straight up killed my own tank. I think it was me not knowing exactly what I need to replace. And that's the kind of cool thing about water changes, is you don't really have to know the chemistry as much. You just do the water change and everything gets back to, you know, at least gets 20% or 50% back to where it should be. Depending on however much water you change. But anyways, back to this real quick. So this baffle is removable for the Refugium. Put Kato here, you know, whatever. There is a little glass baffle here on the bottom, and it sticks up probably 2 inches. And what that's for is if you were to put sand down here, the sand will stay in this section, won't go, you know, over into the actual filter socks, so you don't have to mess with that. At a different local fish store here, somebody actually put Miracle Mud in their display or in their tank, so they filled it with Miracle Mud. I'm not gonna do that. If I do Refugium, I'm probably just gonna do Kato. I used Miracle Mud on the 350 also, and I, granted, didn't leave it in there long enough to use it, or for it to see any, you know, if it did anything good or bad. I did put it in there long enough, which was pretty much 10 minutes in, to notice that it kind of makes the whole sump dirty. Not saying that it's going to happen in this one, because it is, like, if I put it in here, it's pretty, you know, separated from everything else. But it's just not for me, at least not right now, not where I am in the hobby. So yeah, so you can put Kato there. I am really curious what the water flow is here, because I know like a lot of Refugiums, and for Kato, you kind of typically want it to roll. So I'm kind of curious how that's going to work here, especially since it's, you know, coming this way and making a turn. So I kind of feel like all your Kato is going to be like up against here. But if anything, there's plenty of room to put a power head somewhere. And it also depends how close this tank is to the cabinet walls, because I'm kind of curious how much room there's going to be, you know, for like magnets and stuff on the other side of the glass. Also on this baffle, you can take all these little plastic, you know, covers off. So if you want to clean those, you can. If there gets, you know, Kato clogs on or whatever, Kato, Chato, whatever. And then you have the rest of your sump, I guess you will. So this section here, you know, for your protein skimmer, reactors, anything else you might want to put in here, it's pretty big. And then obviously you take this out, it's really big. If you move it over one, it would make it even bigger, but that would be kind of weird because you'd have this little small section. I don't exactly know what you could do that for. I mean, you could still do a Refugium. It would just seem really weird to me at that point. But anyways, this is probably how I'm going to keep it set up. Refugium over here, protein skim over here. And and then probably some reactors. I don't know how I'm going to do my reactors yet, but we'll save that for whenever I actually do plummet or decide to do reactors, because I don't know if I'm just going to do like drop-in reactors or do manifold. But anyways, so you do have this adjustable sump skimmer hype thing. So moving this up and down adjusts the water level in the sump area for your skimmer, because certain skimmers only work best in a certain water height. You see this when you see most people that have a skimmer that's sitting on some kind of platform to make it where it's not as deep in water. So it's nice that they included this. Also, you know, obviously if you don't have a skimmer, I would probably raise it up as much as possible, just because that'll increase your water volume and all that. And then the way it works, it's kind of dark, is it just has these two slits right here, and then there's a nut that tightens on these, and it just holds it in place. It's very simple. See if I can get it back in there now. And then let me go ahead and move the camera to this side of the room. Okay, guys, before I go to the other end of the sump, I want to tell you about the ATO. So this is the ATO that comes with the sump. I think it's 7 gallons. It's very simple. You just put your water in here. It's gravity fed. There's a little spigot right here that comes out, and it flows all the way over to a float valve. You'll see this float valve later, and I'll tell you a little bit about it. But there are these two glass braces right here, so you can move it along the sump. Not every Red Sea tank has this, especially not the small ones. The 170 obviously didn't. There's not much room there. So yeah, you can slide it back and forth. You know, I don't know how easy you'll be able to slide it when there's 7 gallons of water in there, and how not messy it'll be. But there's that. It's really simple. Not much to it. The water level gets high, you know, raises the float valve, doesn't feed any more water, gets low, and it gravity feeds more water in there. Pretty simple. I won't be running this. I might maybe at first while I get everything set up. Kind of doubt it, because I'm going to try to get everything set up before I really put everything in the tank. The reason I don't want to use this is it just doesn't hold enough water for me, especially if I'm gone, any kind of vacation, or I'm out of town, whatever. I don't really want to have to bug people to come put water in here, especially because, you know, 5 gallon jugs, it's kind of a pain to put in the tank exactly anyways. But mainly it just doesn't hold enough water for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm putting the food grade barrels, kind of like BRS talked about lately, in the garage, which is luckily just on the other side of that wall. Poke a little hole in the wall, and you hook up my ATO pump, you know, in the garage, feeding into the sump here. So I don't plan on using this. I don't even know what I'm going to do with this tank. I actually had a Regal tank today that was not doing very well. And I kind of thought about using this, like plugging that hole and using this as a quarantine system. And I might actually do that. So if you don't want to use it as an ATO, it kind of includes a quarantine system. It'll actually work really well. So yeah, that's all that. Now let's go to the back. Okay, so over here, now you can get a better look at this end of the sump too. This is your, again, this is where the water comes in, goes this way, comes over the baffle, comes in here. This is your return section. This is that pump, and again, like I said, I'll just take it off. I'll just take it off real quick. There's just a nut that comes off. Maybe. Let me get this guy off real quick. Doing it live. So yeah, it's just a real simple, you know, there's a nut that goes right here, goes in the hole, and then on this tubing there's another screw that screws in here. If you had another ATO set up, you could use this. You know, you're just gonna have to kind of engineer that the way you want. If you take that off, you are going to have this little plastic glass piece right here. I have it in the 170 actually. I just left it. You know, it's really not that big of a deal. I don't know what ATO like system I'm going to use yet. I use the Neptune ATK on the 170. And again, you'll just kind of use, I use the same like water level. So basically what I would do is I would stick that on here. I would look to see where it's off, and then that's where I would kind of put the other one. But technically you could put it higher. You know, you just got to realize if you make the water level higher, if you use like your own ATO system and the pump shut off, and then you know you got your water level, your display running into your sump, you got to make sure that you have enough room here that when that water comes on and backs up, it's not going to flood your sump. So be aware. That's why I just kind of use the height that this uses. But anyways, if I was to use an ATK setup, I would probably just use the magnet and put it right here. The magnet will go on the other side of the socks. Real simple. I have a Reef Octopus Varios 8000. I don't know exactly. We'll see that later when I actually plumb all this. But I have a Reef Octopus Varios Sump, I think is what it's called. I'm gonna put here. But yeah, guys, that's kind of the sump. There's not much to it, but I know some of you are probably, you know, maybe ordered a Reefer 170. You really want to see it before you actually get it, because I know that's how I am. Once I order things, I can't stop watching YouTube videos until I got it, and then I get it, and I pretty much know everything about it already. So I just kind of wanted to put some videos out about this guy. By the way, the bottom does have the felt on it for like the auto leveling felt mat or whatever. But yeah, guys, I think that's kind of it for the sump. I'll catch y'all on the next one.